Hearthstone Battlegrounds update. Finally, an update coming up. It's going to be released, I believe it's tomorrow. So if you really love bees, now's your chance. I've looked over them already, but we're going to go over them together right now. And we're going to discuss about these changes to Hearthstone Battlegrounds. Now, just give me a moment as I switch over to my display capture. Alright, here we go. So, Battlegrounds update. First of all, the turn lanes have been reverted to their pre-21.2 times. So that means turns 3 to 9 have been reduced by 5 seconds. Now, they originally changed this. They originally increased the times by 5 seconds to allow for people to get used to the new minions, the new game, the new meta. Read up on what these creatures are doing, and just kind of get used to what they do. That grace period is now over. It's done. They have. Let me just lower this real quick a little bit. Yep. Okay. So that's over. That's done. We are now going into the proper time, going back to the time before this, all these changes. So, your turns are going to be shorter. So keep an eye on that. Your turns are going to be shorter now. Well, at least just turns 3 to 9. So, if you're at 10 and later, it's still going to be the same. If you're before 3, like 1 and 2, it's still going to be the same. It is turns 3 to 9. Those are going to be shorter. 5 seconds. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is quite a lot. I think most of them around that time is only 45-second turns, maybe even 35 seconds. We're reducing that by 5 seconds. It's going to be faster. Make sure you guys are ready for that. Don't be surprised by it. All right, now let's really get into these changes. We've got Shudderwalk. Like I said before, when they first released it out at 0 cost and some of these, I immediately knew this was going to be pretty broken. Now, I personally never really went down the Murlocs with like Bran and then doing all the Murlocs with all this giant battle cries. I'm sure somebody on YouTube, there's a video on YouTube, you will see how ridiculous it is. Just imagine if I've played like, five like, what is that tier 5 6-3 called? Can't remember the name right now, but just imagine +2 to everything, and I have a Bran. A lot of Murlocs will have Brans at this point. Let's say I played 5 of them, and then I played this a Shudderwalk, my first Shudderling. Okay, it plays all 5. That's literally all, and then because of Bran, it doubles this. It plays all 5 again, so it plays +10. So literally the first Shudderling I played just added +20 to all of my Murlocs. Now, if you have Bran and you have room for a Shudderling, that means there's 5 Murlocs. Alright, that's +20 to 5 different Murlocs. Alright, now that's the first one. Imagine playing the second one, which then also plays the previous Shudderling. It repeats the previous Shudderling's battle cries. Okay? So now you're playing the 5 again, plus the Shudderling, right? Which was another 5. Okay? So we now have 10. And if we say and then it repeats the second Shudderling again. So basically it plays it 20 times. That's +40 to every single Murloc. Alright, and I'm just talking about playing 5 of those +2/+2s. That's it. Imagine if they played 10, 12, whatever. It gets ridiculous. And what if you have a Golden Brand? It's triple, okay? So, is it broken? Pretty much. Anyway, that being said, it now costs 2. So, you can still do this. It's just a little harder. But I do expect people to still, towards later game, they will be playing these Shudderlings, okay? They probably play the first one early to maybe get triples and then build that into discover like 5s or 6 tier 5 tier 6s. Trying to build triples and then trying to get discover those other creatures. So that's probably what they're doing. Yeah, because you can hold them in your hand, right? You don't discover a higher tier minion until you actually play it. So yeah, this is something that people could be doing. It just costs a little more now, which means that they're more likely Shutterwalk players are more likely to take damage, which means it'll be harder to pull off, harder to hold onto the Shutterlings for long. So we'll see that. But in terms of its brokenness, it's still there. It's only costing 2. So you're just gonna see it. You're probably not gonna see it early on, but if they can hold on, the longer they can hold on to it, the better off they'll be. All right. Galewing. This one was huge, right? Getting a free tier upgrade. Like, a lot of Galewings were hitting 5, like 5, 6. 5 is, yeah, but 6. A lot of them were hitting 6 super early, right? Because if you upgrade to 5 and then use this to turn into 6, like right away, like literally the following turn, you upgrade and get 6, and you're rolling, you have a full 10 gold to start rolling for 6s. That was pretty powerful. The problem was a lot of times they weren't surviving long enough. So this change, yeah. It definitely weakens Galewing. 5 gold is kind of actually bad. So we'll see how that is. It's definitely not going to be as powerful. It'll still be very useful though. I think what they're trying to do is just trying to encourage people to use this more though, because perhaps it wasn't being used enough. Master Nguyen adjusted the odds of hero power offerings. Now this one is very interesting because Blizzard doesn't tell you. They don't tell us what these percentages are. Like for example, Reno. All right, look, the big one here is Reno. Where do we find Reno? Like, what is the percentage and what is the changes here? And the other thing is, it says adjusted the odds of hero power offerings. Excuse me. We don't know which direction they're changing this. They could have increased the chances of finding Reno. Just think about that. They could have increased the chances of finding Reno. We don't know. They're not telling us. Minion Updates, Defiant Shipwright has been removed from the minion pool. I think that's the one that where when you tier up, it adds a pirate to your to the tavern. Well, let's be honest, right? That's not very useful. And South Sea Captain has been returned. I believe it's because pirates early on have been really struggling. They've been without the South Sea Captain, they've really been hurting. They haven't been as strong as, say, the elementals, the demons. They just haven't been as strong. Impatient Doomsayer. This one's huge, okay? Because this was like all the demon players were playing this. You get Impatient Doomsayer, and then you just farm. This is the old one at tier 3. At tier 3, mind you, they're farming the demons left and right. Okay, like if you get this, you didn't have to worry about. And if you had like say taunts that like death rattle taunts and stuff that could produce more units, and you basically get like 2-3 demons every turn, you didn't need to buy anything, and you could just level up. I've played recently. People were getting like 6 demons in a single turn. So that was pretty crazy. This is a good change because it does really slow down the demons. They're already really powerful towards the end game, and with the Impatient Doomsayer, they were really strong early game as well. Maybe not early, mid game. They were really strong early mid game. So this really slows them down and brings a little more balance to it. And then now, before you guys get all upset that they're changing demons or nerfing demons, they're nerfing beasts. Okay. They're nerfing beasts as well. We'll get to that in a moment, but we'll just go from top down here. All right, Kathra Natir. They're in a sense nerfing and buffing. Okay, and here explain. They're nerfing Kathra Natir as a card. All right, so it has less attack. It has less stats, but huge change here. They're changing it from tier 4 to tier 3. That changes a lot. Now, why is this so important? Because this means that demon players, especially with the the cultist. Oh, I can't remember the name. The tier 1, right? Now you can get a Wrathweaver. Was it Wrathweaver? That's right, Wrathweaver. With the Wrathweaver, you can start really spamming the demons early without taking damage if you can find a cast run the tier at 3. Okay, so this is very good for demons. Now, like I said before, they were nerfing demons mid-game. With this, the Impatient Doomsayer, and then they kind of just buffed it again with cast run Hatir. With this change, you can really go into the Wrathweavers and really avoid a lot of that damage, because if you imagine the time it takes to level up from tier 3 to tier 4 is usually about 2 to 3 rounds, and then to find a cast run Hatir. Now imagine you're playing demons for 2 to 3 rounds, right? You're playing at least 2 demons, possibly 3. You're literally with that. It's like you're taking 4 to 6 damage, right? You're taking 4 to 6 damage. With this change, that's 4 to 6 less damage that you're taking from the Wrathweavers. So that's a pretty decent change. Now, the big change we've all been looking for and waiting for: Leapfrogger. I am going to say, I've been saying this for weeks, they're going to nerf it to a 1-1. And look at that. They have changed, they've nerfed the Leapfrogger to a 1-1. Like, the 2-2 was ridiculous. Like, I could have told them, well, just like, I could have told them that after playing it once or twice. This +2/+2 was way too much. They're changing to a 1-1. This is what I want to see. This is what I wanted to see, and what I've been saying, I've been predicting that was going to happen, was that they were going to change it to a 1-1. The reason why is because it effectively halves the amount. So how strong are beasts going to be with this change? Not sure yet, because even with the full-on Leapfrogger build, like, it was very powerful, but demons were keeping up for the most part. Like, if you high rolled as demons, you can match a mid-roll Leapfrogger build, at least till the end game, in which case you then lose. But the Leapfrogger build, it's been nerfed to 1-1. We'll see how this changes things. I think we're definitely going to see a lot more bird buddies in play. A lot less people really focusing on beasts, because this is a big nerf. We're reducing the sizes by half. So if you were supposed to get a 700, which is insanely large, you're now only getting 350. Okay, is that going to be enough for them to win rounds? Is that going to be enough for beasts to win? I really don't think so. So we'll see how this goes, and we'll track it through the games. I think this +1/+1 is the right place for beasts right now. The question is this one nerf enough to really just destroy beasts as a viable build? That's my question. With dragons, the way dragons are, the way especially demons are, I have a feeling that beasts have now fallen off from the top build to maybe like the 3rd best build. Alright, so demons have definitely taken the top spot. I think the demons right now are the strongest builds. Murlocs are another one that could be potentially good. Now again, beast build, because of the way you want to produce minions, like with the rat pack, because you have all these, poison means nothing. So the beasts were always going to counter the Murlocs, because you replace it with just so many different beasts, and they're pretty big too, that the Murlocs are just overwhelmed, and the poison can't reach all of them. That was the idea. So we'll see how this goes with beasts, but it's definitely, beasts are going to be a lot harder to pull off now that the Leapfrogger has been halved. Is it enough to make it is it enough, or is it too much? We'll have to find out. I am a little worried that this might have been too much, but here's the next thing that they did for beasts. Monstrous Macaw. Alright, they've really changed this one, and I think this one is a good one to have done, because like, honestly, the Monstrous Macaw being able to proc its own death rattle was a bit ridiculous. Okay, and especially once you have beast on it, and if all of them are on it, you were getting like 350 macaws just doubling its size to like 700. You don't want that happening. It's pretty bad. So the O1 is after its attacks trigger a random friendly minion's death rattle. It's a random friendly minion. That's why it was triggering its own death rattle. Now, after this attacks, trigger another friendly minion's death rattle, which means this can no longer trigger its own death rattle. This is very important, which means that, honestly, you would probably replace the Macaw. I mean, Macaws can still have a build. There's still a place for Macaws inside your Leapfrogger build. Let's be honest, it's still there. So that's still a possibility. No worries. And then they went on to do another thing, Reanimating Rattler. They've moved it to a tier 5. They've just delayed beast builds from getting this. And honestly, though, the reborn hat wasn't even that important. I used it a lot. It was huge if you reborn your Leapfroggers. But now it's not as important, honestly. So we'll have to see where this goes, because I feel like I feel like they've really done a lot of changes. I don't know if it's good or bad, but big nerf, huge nerf, huge nerf. If this needed to happen, I'm just a little concerned that now beasts are too weak. Right? But we'll see. We'll see. There'll probably be an adjustment. If it's really that weak, there'll be an adjustment in like a week or two. But they're really going to try it out and see what people come up with. Reanimating Rattler. We've gone through. Okay. Well, Smuggler. So Dragon's been buffed. Oh, sorry. They buffed the card, but then they reduced the health that it was giving Dragon. So this is a nerf. Because really, you don't care about Whelp Smuggler having 1 extra health, okay? What you care about was the buff it was giving. So they have this. Now, I mean, if you watch one of my games, it was pretty ridiculous. I had like a 100 Taragosa with like 300 health. I gave it taunt. So if the potion didn't have poison, he was gonna struggle to get through that. This is, I don't know. I feel like dragons were in a place where they weren't that strong to begin with. So getting this 1 extra health, it's a hit or miss. I don't think it'll affect dragons too much any which way. I'll say that. I don't think it'll affect dragons too much any which way. I do have to say, Whelp Smuggler with the Glyph Guardian was a pretty strong combination early on. And I think with the way dragons scale, they didn't want to see dragons too strong early. Because, you know, you can't have one tribe that's just strong early, strong mid, strong late, right? Like, that's just broken. So they had to take that out. All right. I find it interesting that I think they changed demons up here, right? And then they went through beasts, and then dragons, and then they came back to a demon. So yeah, that was kind of weird. I think this one was, I ran into this like earlier this week, or this past week, where I think somebody had a golden macaw and a golden baron, and then it was casting this health on itself, and then when it actually did die, huge health buff to everything else, like 400 plus 400 health to other things. So I think they're just trying to make sure, again, like the macaw, they're trying to make sure that this they're just trying to make sure that this doesn't land on the other stuff. So Master Realities, this is a big buff for elementals. Big buff. After a friendly elemental gains stats, gain +1/+1. So you can really start wrapping up the Master Realities a little earlier. Peggy Brittlebone, you got a buff. Look at those stats. 6/5 at 4 instead of a 5/3. So very good. That's a buff. Gold Grubber got buffed. You know, it starts at a 4/4 instead of a 2/2 now. Salty Looter got buffed, 1 extra health. Again, as mentioned before, I think Pirates were in a really weak spot. This really does help Pirates out a lot. They're supposed to be mid game anyway, so yeah. Let's see, Prophet of the Boar. Quillboar's getting buffed as well. Quillboars were also struggling with the new elementals, the new demons, and the new beasts. Those three really took over for the most part. So Quillboar's getting a lot of buffs. 1 extra damage for the Roboar. +1/+1 to the Bristleback. The Dynamic Duo starts at higher attack, higher health, +1 already. I mean, like, honestly, like, these kinds of stats are very easy to give to Quillboars. But I think they're just saying, like, just that early bit, just that little bit more earlier on, because Quillboars really were struggling mid game. Let's see, Sharga. Oh, alright. So Sharga can now buff herself again. back to the old Sharga. They're reverting this friendly thing. So before, when Quillboars were first introduced, they actually took away. Whoops. So when Quillboars were first introduced, she actually buffed herself, which meant she got really big too. And then they felt like because Quillboars were just really dominating everything at the time when Quillboars were introduced, so they removed that. So Sharga could not buff herself, but she'll buff other friendly minions, right? Now they're reverting back to the way she was before. This is understandable because, like I said, Quillboars weren't doing so well. I really didn't see a lot of people playing Quillboars. It was all beasts and demons and elementals. So this is to bring Quillboars back into parity, hopefully, with the other tribes. We'll see how this goes. And yeah, that are all of the updates, all of the new things that's been happening. But I don't think this is out yet. All right, just a key warning. I don't think this is out today. I believe this comes out tomorrow. We'll say it right here. The 21.3 patch releasing tomorrow includes several updates. Okay, so this patch comes out tomorrow. Oh, wait. 20th? Today's the 21st? So these patches came out 19 hours ago. So these changes might be at live right now. So we're going to jump into a game right now and figure out whether these are, if these changes are active right now.